The Houston Rockets are currently down 3-1 against the Golden State Warriors. Now, there's a chance that they could come back from a 3-1 deficit, but that's hard as hell. We've only seen few teams in the NBA come back down from 3-1. When I look at the Houston Rockets right now, a lot of things just have not worked out in their favor, and a bunch of players just haven't stepped up. I have to start off with Jaylen Green. When I predicted the Houston Rockets would win this series in 7, and I know I look foolish right now, I said that Jaylen Green had to have a big-time series, at least average 21 to 25 points in the series. He hasn't done that. In game 1, he came out 7 points, and he was 0 for 4 from 3 and 3 of 15 from the field. He shot 20% from the field. You could say those are just jitters from him. It's his first playoff run with the Houston Rockets. Give him time. But at the same time, we've seen Jaylen Green in the past, in the regular season, be a very inconsistent player. And he wants to get a major contract extension with the Houston Rockets. The way that he's playing right now, he doesn't deserve that major contract extension. This is what separates the great players from others. He is still a young, talented basketball player. I'm not saying give up on Jaylen Green, but I'm very disappointed in his play in this series. Now, in game 2, he came out, he showed out. 38 points, 6 assists on only 2 turnovers. And they won that matchup 109-94. And I know if you're a Golden State Warrior fan, you'll say, hey, Jimmy Butler exited early in that matchup. He was dealing with a pelvis injury. And the Houston Rockets took advantage of that game. Jaylen Green was able to go out there, hit threes, get to the rack on a consistent basis, and hit that mid-range shot. But he reverted back to his old self in game 3. When you look at game 3 with the Houston Rockets, it was just very annoying. Jimmy Butler's not able to play in this matchup. And once again, one of your star players in the regular season, Jaylen Green averaged 21 points a game, 9 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 4 of 11 from the field, 36% from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. And in game 4, he was abysmal. It was easily his worst game in this series so far. 8 points, 5 turnovers, 1 assist, 3 rebounds. 1 of 5 from 3. 3 of 8 from the field. He only had 8 shot attempts. And that's your starting guard out of the backcourt alongside Fred VanVleet. He has been a major disappointment in this playoff stretch. But outside that one game against the Golden State Warriors in game 2. And I look at Jaylen Green, a bunch of it is just this. He's taking dumb jump shots from the 3-point line. He gets very frustrated early on. And when he sees that he can't get to the rack on a consistent basis, he's not settling for the mid-range shot. He'll just hit a pull-up 3 on Jimmy Butler, a pull-up 3 on Draymond Green. And that's very frustrating if you are a Houston Rockets fan. You've seen him do this in the regular season. When his 3-point shot is on, it's on. And it damn near makes the Houston Rockets unbeatable with the defense they're able to play on the back end. But right now, their offense is not there. And it's more than just Jaylen Green. I don't want to just come out and single him out. Fred VanVleet is a veteran point guard. He was a part of that championship run with the Toronto Raptors many years ago against the Golden State Warriors. Fred VanVleet did have a very nice game 4. He had 25 points in that matchup. But you look at Fred VanVleet early on in game 1 and game 2. Game 1, he only had 10 points, 2 of 13 from 3. He's taking 13 threes. That's way too many for Fred VanVleet. 4 of 19 from the field. In game 2, 2 of 8, 1 of 7 from 3, 7 points on the day. I look at Fred VanVleet, be more of that point guard that can be the player's coach in terms of setting up the offense instead of taking those dumb threes. I know they're running a lot of pick and roll with him and Sengun. And he's getting a lot of open looks. But at the same time, you look at Jaylen Green mixed in with Fred VanVleet. They're taking a lot of contested threes at the 3-point line. You're not going to win basketball games that way. We may look at Stephen Curry and B-Pies right now with the Golden State Warriors, and you may say, hey, they're taking a lot of contested threes. Stephen Curry is one of the best 3-point shooters we've ever seen. He may be the best 3-point shooter. Jaylen Green, that's not in his game. And the same with Fred VanVleet. They need more spacing in the half court. And I did mention this a week ago. Their half-court offense bothers the hell out of me. When they won that hot winning streak, their half-court offense was above average. But for the majority of the season, they had a below-average half-court in the setting. That's why it was essential to possibly bring in a veteran in this offseason that could come in and score and create his own shots at times. It's just a bunch in pick and roll and a bunch of misdirection on the back end. and they're looking for Ahmed Thompson to be that backdoor cutter. Draymond Green is shutting that off, and the same with Kevon Looney. So he's not getting those open opportunities to go to the rim. Those live passes are not there. They run the double big lineup with Sengun and Steven Adams. It's not working out. The Golden State Warriors are shooting them off the court. Steven Adams can't cover on the perimeter like Sengun. And even with Sengun, it's a bit streaky. We look at Draymond Green. He's not a very good three-point shooter, but every now and then he'll knock down some threes. Look at what happened in Game 4. He hit 2 threes back-to-back. That messed up the entire defense for the Houston Rockets. So now Sengun, he's trying to go out there and cover Draymond Green. On the backdoor cut, now you have Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's able to work for the mid-range shot. He gives it over to Stephen Curry. And I have to talk about this defense on top of this. The defense in the regular season, the Houston Rockets produced one of the best defenses in the NBA. You look at what Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler was able to do in Game 1. It was a terrible game plan by Coach Udoka. And Ime Udoka has ran into this problem before against the Boston Celtics when they went against the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals. Stephen Curry, he torched them. You're trying to run half-court traps and basically get the basketball out of his hand. It's hard to do that when you have Draymond Green, who can be that playmaker. He gets the basketball to Jimmy Butler. And they're finding a lot of weaknesses within this defense. There is no weak side protection around the basket. So it's just a bunch of backdoor cuts with B-pods. Jimmy Butler working from the mid-range, getting the basketball to Stephen Curry. They should have really took advantage when Jimmy Butler was out for that matchup, when he was dealing with the pelvis injury. But you did not take advantage of that. The Houston Rockets are a young basketball team. You can say, what do you expect? The veteranship of the Golden State Warriors. That's all true. Jimmy Butler is one of the best players that you can have in the NBA playoffs. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I have been very disappointed so far by the run with the Houston Rockets. Everything can be true. The players haven't stepped up, and Ime Udoka has let this team down with his lack of defensive adjustments. But one positive here is this. Sengun has been a very good player in this series. It doesn't always come down to points, but he has been phenomenal in terms of going around the basket, being creative, knocking down timely threes. He's not a very good three-point shooter, but he's hit some threes in this series. You look at Sengun, he's easily been their most consistent player. In Game 4 against the Golden State Warriors, he had 31 points, 10 rebounds. 12 of 28 from the field, 42% from the field. And he's doing majority of the workload on the offensive end. In Game 1 against the Golden State Warriors, they lost that matchup 95-85. Sengun, 26 points in that game, 9 rebounds. He has 16 rebounds in Game 2 and 17 points. And he's able to find the open man. He's doing the best that he can. They're just sending double teams his way and no one else can knock down their shots. But Sengun has easily been the best player for the Houston Rockets in the regular season and in the playoffs so far. So shout out to him. He has proven to be one of the players that you can really build around for the future. And I'm not saying that the Houston Rockets are done with, that they can't make a comeback. It's possible, but it's so hard in the NBA. You have to win 3 games in a row. And I do expect for them to win their next game at home in Houston. Jaylen Green and Fred VanVleet have not played well, and some of these games have been close, just like how the last game was. They lost by 3 points. It's the little things. And now look at Dillon Brooks. He's resulted back to being his old self with the Memphis Grizzlies. And let me explain. Dillon Brooks is a very good defensive player. His offense is very inconsistent. When his three-point shot is on, it's on. The Dillon Brooks that we saw in the regular season that went against the Boston Celtics, that will have 30 points out of nowhere and will just energize himself on the offensive end, he's non-existent right now with the Warriors. And he has a lot of dumb fouls. It was a situation to where Draymond Green comes in, he hits a screen on Thompson. Dillon Brooks just hip checks the hell out of Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry points at him. Dillon Brooks goes for the basketball. You can say that's aggressive play. That's what you like to see. It's old school basketball, 80s and 90s. Let grown men play. At the same time, this is a different era of the NBA. And shout out to the officials. They're letting the boys play. It is still a bunch of bad calls. Don't get me wrong. But when I speak of situations like this with Dillon Brooks, you're pausing the game. When the Houston Rockets go on the run, you can't have moments like that. You're taking a lot of minutes out of the game. Now Jaylen Green is getting cold. Fred VanVleet is getting cold. You're pausing the game. You're causing so much time, and you're causing free throws on the other end. It was so many technical fouls, flagrant fouls. You could say bad officiating, but at the same time, we have seen this with Dillon Brooks before, with the Memphis Grizzlies. He has a tendency to go out there and overstep his boundaries. I understand he's a tough defensive player. That's what he's known for being gritty, playing great defense. But sometimes he can overstep his boundaries. He can set a hard screen. He can hip check a player. And in today's NBA, they're going to call that a flagrant foul. You're going to get some text with Dillon Brooks. But at least in the regular season, his offense was able to overstep that in certain situations. And this matchup against the Warriors, it hasn't happened. And whenever Jimmy Butler is in the game, it just messes up their defense overall. They did a very good job, Jonathan Kuminga. And I understand Jonathan Kuminga is a way different player than Jimmy Butler. When I look at Jimmy Butler, you have to get in his face. You saw what he did with the Miami Heat. He took that organization to the NBA Finals 2 times in the last 5 years, with Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo being his 2 best players. So imagine what he can do against your defense when he has Draymond, he has B-Pods, and he has Stephen Curry. The defensive adjustments have been terrible by Ime Udoka, and the players just haven't stepped up. That 2 big lineup with Steven Adams and Sengun is just not working out. And their only consistent player is Sengun, who is not going out there and getting dumb technical fouls, just picking up dumb fouls over and over again. In order for them to possibly come back in this series, Jaylen Green has to step up, in the same with Fred VanVleet. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you currently feel about the Houston Rockets in this series against the Golden State Warriors? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless. Peace.